Bruce, what was your approach both to meetings this morning and practice today?
Well, they go together. The meetings were about some areas of the game, transition, breakouts, that we could be better. This time of the year, it's tough to go out there and work on your battle and the compete part in your D zone, which has gotten better. I liked our engagement yesterday. Need to put out a fire on the I think it was the second goal there where we didn't break out clean, but in general, I thought we're defending hard. So that was the messaging. I didn't think all the little bounces that happened during the game, none of them really went our way, so that's something you got to play through, especially in a series. If it was January, we just move on and say not our night, but we do have to address how we can be better through those and get through the ups and downs of a game when you're not at your best and get back to it, because we did have I thought pockets of really good hockey in the game. It just unfortunately wasn't enough.
You used that word engaged yesterday with your top line. Do you think you got that from them?
Yeah, physically for sure, from Barbashev and Stoney, even Jack. Jack's not a guy that's going to go hammer guys, but he wasn't shying away from it. So they were engaged in that part of the game, and unfortunately, the offensive side of it hasn't come as much as we'd like. But they're too good of players not to recognize that and know that they gotta be better. Power play, I thought was, where they can get some touches. They did. We didn't finish. We had some good looks, didn't finish, didn't get the second and third chances. That's the one area I'd talked to them about. We worked on a little bit today, but I expect they'll come around. They know we need them. By the same token, it happens in the playoffs. Sometimes it doesn't come together right away, and that's where you need the rest of your group to pull you along. And that's kind of where the game got away yesterday. If we could have hung in there at the end of the second period, a couple of tough bounces, and maybe we find a way until they get going. But now there's a little more of a microscope on them when that happens.
Was there a consideration of maybe switching lines up at all, and why did you opt not to?
Well, I think we finally got the ones that we wanted to get to. So sometimes when you switch lines this time of year, it can be viewed as panic. So we don't want to send that message. We do have to understand if it's not working eventually, we will have to look at that. And I have talked to them about that. We've moved a left winger around, but we're not going to move all the pieces around just yet. Some of the other lines are going. Nick Waugh's line was very, on the puck. Okay, some of them aren't finishing that well, but Olsen had some good looks again yesterday. Off the rush a few times, and Hurdle's line's been good. So we got to be careful that we're not messing with too much. But I'll tell you, it's in the back of your mind, and it has to be if you're not getting the result. But we're not there yet.
Statistically, the underlying numbers, you crushed them, except for when their top line was on the ice. How do you build on that?
Well, we got to be careful that we don't overvalue the time and score when you have an advantage, right? Like if they have a lead, they tend to sort of say, okay, we're not giving you anything except the outside, some ozone. So we have to be careful that we go into the numbers and go, oh, well, we're playing better. We're just, we've got to be careful with that. Yeah. Yet, I feel there hasn't been a barrage of chances against us, so our team structure has been good. We just haven't taken care of the puck at crucial situations, and I don't think we've gotten as much puck luck. For example, when I say that, I think both their power play goals, we give them those shots every day of the week. If that's what they're going to take from that far out, and one finds its way, the other one bounces in off a guy. So there's a little bit of that where we didn't get that. So tomorrow, all of a sudden, that shifts and happens for us and goes our way. Then we're not talking about some of the other stuff. So there's a little bit of that with the numbers, Gary. Their top line, we've got to do a better job. That's that simple. And some of it is we've mismanaged pucks with their best. And again, last night behind the goal line, one to their best leading scorer. So that we have to eliminate. We have to eliminate those mistakes or really put out fires when we do make them. And that's what happened in game 2. It was the same guys where we turned some pucks over. Kiprusoff gets a breakaway. Was Boldy's was a breakaway. I don't know if that was so much a turnover, but got behind us. So easy offense is where we gotta neutralize them better.
Jack was able to hold the puck a lot more last night. He looked a lot more like Jack last night. It didn't happen on the score sheet. Can you tell? And Stone had good looks too. Can you tell when guys are close?
Well, I thought the first game they had their looks, and listen. I think they're right there, but until it happens, I can tell you that, but it's got to happen. We have tried to build some things into the O-zone, the way they defend, to get Jack the puck in spots. It's not right in front of the slot because they protect that, but get him the puck and then let him sort of see what's available in attack or make plays. So that's one thing we adjusted to or tried to do. Instead of pounding it from the top, pull some guys away from that, then attack from the outside in. So we'll see if that works for Jack and see if it opens up some lanes or seams or opportunities to get to the inside.
You don't really hard match a lot, Bruce, at all. It's, your faith on every line you put out there, but with Boldy and Kaprizov and what they've done, have you kind of thought we need to really try to get certain matchups out there against those two guys?
Well, we've used every line to mention that they're really good players and they've scored. So you sort of look at it and say, is it the matchup, Gauche, or do we keep turning pucks over to them at the wrong spot? So I don't necessarily criticize the people that are, and I'm not getting defensive, I'm saying I don't think it's the people on the ice that have failed against that line in terms of how they're playing. I think we've failed with our ability to manage the puck for the most part. That's what I see. So that's a good line. Take care of the puck and make sure there's always at least one forward above the puck. Now that's an area you can match, and that's why the Carly line is always, Carly always works so hard above the puck, but Jack's good at that. Nick Waugh's line has had those assignments. Hurdle, those three guys are newer to that assignment, and they've been fine against them. So that's how I look at that. And then you got to look at the pairs as well. So I don't see it as they're blowing one particular group of five out of the water. I think when they're on the ice, we got to be much better with what we do with the puck.
In terms of getting to the interior ice, you talk about it a lot. Did you see more of that last night? Or?
Well, they keep two guys very close to the front of the net, so it's a little bit of, okay, where in the interior? It's got to be a little more slot-driven, or pull those two guys away from the net, or get in the goalie's eyes first, right? So there's a combination of those things. I'm seeing more of it, but, again, we're going to – we can talk offense all we want. If we don't keep the puck out of the net, we're not winning. Better. We got to do a better job. It's not going to end up a 6-5 game. I don't see that happening with this team. So we can't chase the game every night. We can't be behind and let them play to their strength and defend and have people back. That's the solution to what's going on to us. Less so about, when we're down 4-0, how do we get 5 straight goals? I mean, that is not the formula that we're discussing every day. It's more about let's not get behind.
What have you seen in Aiden Hill's ability to respond in your time here, and what are some things that you see early in a game that tell you that he's locked in?
Tracking pucks is always a thing with goaltenders early. Are they late reacting to pucks? Are they into the gauge of the game, playing the puck and with reading the ice, etc. That's how you can tell usually if other than game 2 where you're just forced to make saves, right? That's when you know they're in the game. But if your team's playing okay in front of them, and those are the things you look for other than the obvious big stops. In game 2, we got them early on, so you could tell that there was he was ready to go, and so was their goalie. It was a high activity game for the two teams in the first 5 minutes. So the ability to bounce back. He's been with us a while. I don't think his demeanor is going to affect Game 3. Shouldn't affect Game 4. It typically hasn't been for him during the regular season. It wasn't in the playoffs. He didn't play great every game in that run. He had great numbers, but I'm sure there was some nights that I can't think off the top of my head. It was like, I got to be better. I'll go in, shake it off, or whatever. So I'm not worried about that part of it. He's been in the league. He's been in these playoff runs, and we're down a game. That's it. We're not sitting here thinking it's anything more than that. We need to play a little better, earn some breaks. That if that results in a win, then it's 2-2. You're back home, and you have a home ice advantage in a best of 3. So there's a little bit of that big picture, but stay in the moment.
How much of it do you think is puck luck versus puck management, or do they kind of?
Well, I think our puck management has hurt us. I've said it, and I'll be very honest about it. It needs to be better. They've got a few bounces the other night on goals. That's okay. That happens in hockey. If we funnel pucks in that and get bodies there, maybe one of those will happen for us. But that's it. So they're playing the way they feel they need to play to win, and their pucks are going in. They weren't going in Game 1 as much, went our way. So that's the way it goes. And I'm not talking about Game 2. As I said, we mismanaged. Their goals were all a result of us. Yesterday, I thought there was a couple that typically aren't going to go in every time. You give Kaprizov a breakaway, the odds go up that, you know, and Boldy all alone in front, yeah, the odds are there, but some of the other ones I thought they were beneficial, and that's hockey. You know, as I said, it's on us to make sure we create some of that stuff for ourselves as well.
You said you expected them to have kind of a good start with it being their first home game in a while in the playoffs. Like, are you expecting you guys to really come out hot tomorrow?
Well, I would like us to. You know, we're not typically that team over the course of time. We kind of build our game, but you know, that was, I think, your first question. The message this morning was like, we can't continue to be the slower starting team. So what do we need to do tomorrow at 3 o'clock as coaches to help you? And what do you need to do? What do we need to do today? So there was a discussion with those guys, and it wasn't anything, you know, we're going on the ice, we'll get our touches, work on things, but tomorrow we got to be just a little more heightened urgency, right, out of the gate. That's it. You know, some of that is just preparation and knowing that what's in front of you. And let's go. Let's initiate and let them react to us a little more. And we have done that. We did it in game 2. I loved our start. So it's there. Just let's get it out of them.
You never want to be down in a series, but do you think this group kind of relishes that challenge?
Well, I think it will, and we're going to find out. You know, we haven't been in my time here. Even last year, we weren't down till it was 3-2. So, and we responded well at home. We won Game 6, and so the only other time was Game 1 against Winnipeg. We were horrible, to be honest with you, and there was nowhere to go but up after that game, and then we did. We won the next 4. So, can we respond being down? In my short experience here, we have. So, yes, I do believe we will.